Okay guys, welcome. This is Ms. Pariseau, and if you needed to have a review of the mean, median, mode, and range, you can watch this video. I'm going to be going over them by using the worksheet that you got in class yesterday. So the materials you're going to need are your calculator. You may want your vocab sheet, your bright pink vocab sheet that looks like this. And also, you're going to need the handout from the previous day that you got this week. It has this on the front page, but we are going to be working on the page right behind it. Okay, so it has mean, median, mode, range, etc. All the directions are there, just sometimes if you need someone to walk you through it, just to hear the steps as a reminder, that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Again, all of the definitions are also on your cheat sheet along with an example. So here's the example set of data, and here's your definition of the term. Mean is just a mathematical way of saying average. So if you see, it's asking something for the average, you're going to still follow these directions. All right, so we can see that we're going to add all the values together and divide by how many values we have. All right, and that's how we'll get our average. So in this example, the average height, plant height, is 12 inches. Okay, all right, the median is the middle number in a set of data, but the most important thing is that you've got to put your list in order from least to greatest. Anytime you come across a set of data, that's the first thing you should do anyway. Okay, again, step-by-step directions are right here. All right, so in this case, for the plant example, we put our data in order. Now, median is separating the data into two equal groups. Sometimes it's a number that ends up being the middle number, but in this case, we have 3 pieces of data here, 3 pieces of data here. So what falls halfway between 12 and 13? And that'll be 12 and a half. Okay? Mode is most. Mode is most. That's your key phrase. Mode, M-O-M-O. Right? So basically, which number occurs the most? You can have 2 modes. However, basically, you're just, again, looking for which values repeat the most often. So, for example, if I took off this 13 and made it a 12, then I could say that my mode is 12 and 13. Right? Your range is talking about how spread out is your data. Okay? So that telling how far your data is spread out is important to consider when we're considering how valuable our data is. So that means you need to know what's your highest value and what's your lowest value, and you subtract them. So the plants vary in height by 3 inches. The smallest is 10, the largest is 13. So they have a range of 3 inches. Right? We're going to get to MAD in the next video. Okay? All right. So you have all your step-by-step directions, what to do, how to do it, and you have an example here. So if you want to go ahead and pause the video and try it on your own, go ahead and do so at this time. Okay? All right. Otherwise, here's what we're going to do. It says step 1, add all the numbers in our data set. Now, you don't have to put them in order right now. It's not an important step for just finding the average. So I can just take this and put this in my calculator. So I'm going to take 12, 23, 19, 16, 22, 11, and 23. So I just took my data, and I'm showing you what I'm putting in my calculator, okay? Because when you go to turn in work, or if it's a test or a quiz, if you don't show me, you just give me the answer. Let's say you accidentally put in your calculator a 10 instead of an 11, or, your work doesn't match your answer. That gives me some information about what might have gone wrong. So we're going to add up all these numbers, and we're going to divide, remember that fraction bar means divide, by how many there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? So now, here's where you can use your calculator to do your math. 12, 23, 19, 16, 22, 11, 23. And then that's the nice thing about these calculators, it's just going to keep your list for you, and then you can hit your enter. So I get 126, but I still got to divide it by 7. Keep going. Go back to your calculator. I can just hit I don't have to re-enter it. I can just hit divide. So it's going to take my previous answer and divide it by 7. I get 18. So my average, or my mean, is 18 for this set of data. All right. For your median, again, you've got directions and you've got an example. If you'd like to pause the video and try it, go ahead and do that, and then play the video to see how you did. All right, so first step is to order the numbers from least to greatest. As you write down a number, cross it off. My smallest number is 11. Then I have a 12. Then I have 16. And then I have a 19. And then I have a 22. I have a 23. And my last number is 23. Now, I cross them off so I can see them. Don't scribble them out, so that way if you mess something up, you can go back and see your original numbers. I'm going to count. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're the same numbers as before. I want to make sure that I wrote down 7 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I did. All right, we're going to find the middle number. Now, you can do the cover-up method. This and this. Go to the next one and the next one. They kind of partner up. Partner, partner. And he's the guy that's left in the middle. Okay? Now, let's just say that I didn't have this 23 here at the end. Just kind of giving you an example about what I was talking about in the notes. Okay? So let's say I only had 6 pieces of data. So to find a median, if I did the cover-up method, I have 2 numbers that fall there. So in order to find the median here, I have to actually I have to add these 2 together, and I have to take the average. I'm trying to find out what number falls directly between those 2. So I would go ahead and I would do 16 plus 19, and I would divide it by 2. And so halfway between those 2 numbers would be 17.5. So that would be my average if I had an even amount. So that was just another example. Okay? All right. Again, mode means most. So again, if you want to pause the video really quick, this is a nice, easy one. Most, you're just looking for the number that repeats the most. All right. I see I've got a 23 and I've got another 23. It's the only number that gets repeated. So my mode is 23. There may be times where you don't have a mode. If that's the case, don't write 0 because 0 is a number. You have to write none. All right. And range, again, you don't really have to order your numbers from least to greatest. It helps to make sure you got the highest value, but you're just looking for the largest number, which is 23, and you're going to subtract the smallest number, which is 11. And you always want to show this work, because let's say you thought 16 was the lowest number. Show me that that's what you thought, so that way I can, correct you if necessary. Okay? So 23 minus 11 is 12. And that is my range. Okay? Now, sometimes a set of data has what's called an outlier. And an outlier is a piece of data that is much greater or less than the rest. All right? So if you think about if you have test scores, you've been scoring in the 80s, you got an 85, you got an 88, you got an 87, and then one day you're not feeling well, you do kind of poorly, let's say you get a 50. Well, that would be considered an outlier. It's not like your normal test. It doesn't fit the rest of the data. So, for example, in this case, we can see that most of our data on this line plot falls right here. This guy over here doesn't fit. He lies outside of the data. So, where is there a striking deviation? Deviation is a fancy way of saying going away from. Okay? So if you deviate from the path, you're going you're going away from the path. Okay? So 1 is the outlier, because that's the value right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see that. All right, there you go. That's it for your review for mean, median, mode, and range.